I wanted to talk to you guys about what your vision of the future is, what you guys see, why you're doing what you're doing. Let's say it like that. Toby, why don't you answer that for me?
I think primarily our focus has changed a lot. I mean, it hasn't really changed from the ultimate source, and that's Jesus Christ. But I think it's become more introspective in the fact that we know that you can't stand on stage and tell people this, that, and the other and point them to God unless you are truly going there yourself. Unless, if I can't learn to love Michael and Kevin,
Which is tough,
how am I going to love the people in the audience? How am I going to love, in other words, we've just learned that the concert experience or the record should be an outpouring of our personal relationships. Just like our example is Christ and the 12 disciples. He spent so much time with those 12 individuals so that they could then go out and speak to the masses. So we got to concentrate on our relationships and loving each other, affirming each other, feeling each other's pain, so that our concert or our records will be an outpouring of that. Before, we were always concentrating on what do we say to the people. I think we're just learning to pursue God and love people along the way.
Thinking about an Oswald Chambers quote, God is not as interested in what you do for him as he is in who you are.
Exactly. That sums it up nicely. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. How does that work itself out in your music?
I don't know. I mean, I think some of the effects were felt on Free at Last, but I can say this tour, the Free at Last World Tour, definitely people are telling me they can sense a difference. They can sense that it's more of a group. We're working together more. We're trying to give the other guy, put the other guy in front of ourselves. I think it's changed a little bit. People might not see it, but I know there are people that do see it, and I know that it's really important to us that this takes place. We spent some time with a guy named Brendan Manning. We wrote the book, The Ride to Welcome Gospel. We went up into the mountains with him by ourselves, and just we just learned, and we just spent time with God together.
I'm thinking about the onslaught of particularly like young teenage women. They're just everywhere now. I guess they've always been there, but how have you dealt with that differently over the last 3-4 years?
It's a question that is asked a few times, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, with the exception of Patrice and Toby, we're all single guys, Toby still has the same pressures that Mike and I had. He just has that partner, that soulmate that he can go to that Mike and I don't have. And just to let people know, we don't go to each other anymore. But our pains and brush with each other. I was telling people today about how it's kind of bothered me a little bit. A lot of the press, a lot of things that I've been seeing circulating within the Christian music industry about our singleness, quote unquote, and us as objects and things like that. And to be honest with you, I mean, yeah, it makes the struggle even more apparent. And I would like to look at it as this. dcTalk is a group, of some energetic young men. But when those people are looking on stage, when those girls are looking on stage, I want them more than ever to see Jesus on stage. And what they're looking at and having joy looking at is nothing but it's the Christ in me. And it's difficult to balance that. There's a juxtaposition going on. You get the right likes to make you look good on stage. You get the right elements, just right, the smoke machine, the right outfit, and you're saying, oh, I didn't want them there, and I don't want them there. And then that's kind of a strange balance. So what we have to do every day is we have to give up who we are individually before we go on that stage. We want to be all the same, filled with the Spirit across the board. And really, it helps. Every time that I've gone to the Lord, and every time I've prayed before a show and said, Lord, make this show yours, make me sing for you, and not make me sing for the good-looking girl in the second row, because it's tough. It's sometimes really easy to do that, and it's been an amazing thing during the course of the show. I mean, I can feel like a weight being lifted and an actual joy in the show, and joy about what we're speaking and singing and nothing.
Yeah, I would think that it would be difficult for you to be perceived as a pop group that is just trying to make people happy, because I know you guys are deeper than that. I'm thinking about Kurt Cobain, his recent suicide. How did that affect you guys?
It actually, I mean, like probably most people, it kind of juggled. I mean, it rocked my world because, I mean, you kind of thought it was going to happen. You never really expected it to. I mean, there was some, before his suicide attempt, or before his actual suicide, there was some reports of him attempting it, overdosing, and people were saying it wasn't meant to be. He actually mixed some kind of cheap wine with some kind of drug or something.
Found out by River Phoenix.
Yeah, and the River Phoenix thing that happened. But when it actually happened and the method, 12 gauge shotgun, I mean, you just stop and think, I thought as a member of the church, quote unquote, it's time out for, I guess, for just dogging out people, especially the secular market. And these people have hearts. They have souls too. They need help. And who's to say he didn't reach out to a Christian and maybe was rejected, or I don't know what happened, but needless to say, Kurt Cobain and a lot of other people like him have a lot of pain, and as a result of that pain, I mean, he took his life, and you know, tell him where he is now. He's in eternity, you know that, but it's a messy situation, and the worst part about it is that all the kids, all the fans that look up to the guy, look up to Nirvana, were probably devastated. I mean, the kid took his life after the funeral or something like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just out of control.
So much judgmentalism. There's so much judgment being placed on people. And I mean, it's true. Music is a tool that speaks to our generation. Music has its effect on our generation almost as much as the church used to, as much as government and lawmakers shape our lifestyle, shape our code of ethics. Music now does that to our generation, much like the 60s. And because of that, music has a big responsibility. The music makers, the musicians, they need to be responsible with what they're saying to people. But as believers, we don't need to be so harsh, so judgmental. We need to be more loving. We took time out to pray for Kurt Cobain's wife and family on a few of our shows, because we just want people to know that we've been way too hard on the world. I mean, when the prostitute, when all the publicans were looking at the prostitute and saying, "Look at her, she's disgusting," Jesus picked her up and loved her. You know what I mean? He said, "I accept you." I mean, she obviously was remorseful about her ways. He didn't spit on her for her past. He loved her, and I just think that's so important. And that's what, in a way, I think we've forgotten.
And there's some responsibility. I mean, just what Toby was saying with that whole synopsis, is there's a responsibility for us as people, and even for us even more as believers. I mean, Kurt, through his music, was always crying out, always crying out against the system, always crying out about, being treated like something other than what he was as a person. I mean, the whole scheme, and it wasn't even a scheme, the whole thing was, we're just normal guys just performing music and singing and making statements about what we believe in, politically or non-politically, I think people pressed him so far, and he got so pressed, and it shows us that those things are reality. I mean, let's not press people. Let's not try to come down on people and condescend and look for the bad in people, but lift people up continually. I mean, and the power of prayer again is really underestimated within the church, I think. I feel like the power of prayer, I've been learning more about it this year. I mean, I used to take it for granted, and I think the power of prayer is amazing. I think if we would just get down and realize that there are people hurting within the entertainment industry just as much as there are in 9-to-5 jobs and everything else. And if we could take the time to pray for all those people.
Yeah, I'm thinking that our relationship to our being a church in Christian music's relationship to mainstream music has always been, well, we're going to dazzle them so much that they'll come over and listen to what we have to say.
Right.
And maybe that's the mistake that we've had all these years.
I think people are looking for truth.
Yeah.
They're looking for truth. I think Cobain was looking for truth. And I don't know. It doesn't seem that he found it. But I think people need to be informed of God's love. If people learn of God's love for them, if we accept, as believers, accept God's love for us, the rules, we won't have to live by rules. That will provoke a love for, when we realize how much he loves us, it will make us want to love him. And once we love him, the rest will fall into place, you know.
For a drug-free Navy and Marine Corps, only one per customer.
I'm thinking about the hard way. That leads right into that. Let's talk video. I mean, first of all, how did you happen to pick that song to do a video of? And second of all, let's talk about it. I mean, that's an interesting one.
I'm not too sure how we picked the song. I think it was like, we thought maybe just the material of the song. I mean, Toby wrote the song, but I mean, what it's talking about, we can all relate. I mean, a lot of things we do in life, even still, we have to learn the hard way. You know, some people have to touch the fire to see if it's hot. And we've all had that experience, but...
All of us do, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and the whole thing came about with the jail thing. We went to a prison in Iona, Michigan, Iona State Reformatory, and we went in there just for a regular day. We thought we were going to shoot a video and meet some prisoners and, you know, call it quits, get a wrap on 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and take off. When we went there, we started talking to some of the guys during the different breaks, and the crew had to, you know, refilm the camera to do whatever. And we started talking to them. We started seeing the hearts. And these guys were hurting. And I have a brother, my older brother, he's a year and a half older than me. He's in prison. But I never even thought about what he goes through because I haven't seen it. I haven't been in this environment. So being in that prison all day talking to those guys, they were, you know, sharing to us how maybe they were treated by the guards and how they felt like their crimes were unjustified or they didn't get their just due or whatever. But they were just pouring their hearts out to us, and the whole thing turned out to be almost, well, it turned out to be a ministry experience for us. We gave a concert at the end of the day, and a bunch of guys who had given Toby some bad looks at first, being white, and they were black. At the end of the day, they were hugging on him and hugging on Kevin, and it was just great because they got to see a little bit of, and nothing to us, but for God, thank God for it, it went to glory. But they got to see...
Very prayed up.
Yeah, they got to see reality. They got to see some real love.
And we went in there wanting to talk to them and wanting to hang out with them as opposed to just wanting to shoot a video.
Right.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's a great backdrop, you know. You know, if you think about it, it's a great marketing backdrop. I mean, but we didn't look at it like that. We wanted to go in there and really meet some people, and we wanted to be able to talk with them. And we all got opportunities. I got to talk to a guy that was in until life for beating up on 5 police officers, putting one in hospital for a long time, and he was just saying, man, I've never seen a group come into this prison has actually spent time talking to us and really wanting to get to know us, not just talking to us because cameras are around or talking to us to be politically correct, but just talking to us because you guys wanted to learn about us, you know. And again, the concert at the end of the night was to me the culminating factor of even being there. It was God actually giving us a gift, and God saying, "Here's your blessing for coming here and hanging out with my children, with my kids. You know, here it is. You know."
Like Kevin said, we went in to shoot a video, trying to capture the ultimate scenario of someone having to learn the hard way in life. We came out of there, the only thing on our minds was we got to share some time and a concert with some guys that normally wouldn't get one. One guy said to me, just real quick, I got to share this. I mean, a guy honestly said to me, he goes, "We appreciate you guys not looking at us like animals in cages, but you treat us like human beings." That's what it's all about.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about trying, who was it, Bonhoeffer, that said you had to find Jesus in everybody that you look at, and no matter where you go, you're going to find somebody to minister to you, no matter where you're looking at. Sounds like you're having that experience. Yeah.
That's what, actually, who told us? Mother Teresa said, what you, I forgot to say.
It was one of the statements that Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me.
Yeah. Every hurting AIDS victim is Jesus in disguise, or something like that. In other words, they're there, and how we treat them, we can either treat them, you know, what we do to Christ, we do to the least, or we do to everyone, you know.
I'm thinking of another quote. This one's a little weird. It's nothing is as deadening to the spiritual as the habitual handling of the outside of holy things. In other words, as you're in ministry long, suddenly things start to get hardened to them. Is that
communion, whatever?
Yeah. How do you fight against that?
You have to keep it's hard to keep a fresh approach, and that's to get to that thinking. A guy named Michael Guido is on the road with us off and on. About 85% of the tour he's been out with us. And we have, you know, aside from personal devotion time, we have group devotions. And sometimes it can just be about the show, or we'll vent frustrations. I guess to keep a fresh approach, there has to be reality in conversation, communication, because, I mean, the show can become routine. You know, saying all the right things can become routine. But, I mean, we got to be realistic because it's hard work, and real feelings, you know, come to the surface a lot of times. And if Toby's getting on my nerves on one part of the show, I got to tell him.
What do you guys see as the future? I mean, are you going to be in dcTalk for next 20 years, or what do you guys see?
We're, obviously our records have changed throughout the years, and I think they will continue to change. That's just a sign of us maturing. You know, we grew up in this industry we left college and immediately started in this industry, immediately went on the road with DeGarmo Key. So I remember doing that interview with you at your studio. That was probably, what, 89?
Yeah.
And I mean,
it was a long-form video, too.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Well, when you grow up in an industry like this, you bear all, you know, you bear the immature marks. Our first records admittedly sounded fairly disjointed at times. I mean, what is this group? Are they singers? You know what? So I mean, obviously, we're changing. We're constantly metamorphosizing. I think it's just a sign of us maturing spiritually, musically, intellectually, hopefully physically. You know,
we still don't have enough money to buy, you know, nice jeans.
And say we'll get you some patches.
But
with fish on them, fish signs on them.
I think we'll continue in that. We're doing an acoustic set during our tour right now, which is one of the most powerful things that I've ever been involved with on a stage. I mean,
why do you suppose that is?
I think because you're dropping all the production, you're dropping all the crazy stuff, and it's just an instrument and three voices, and I think you're acknowledging it's worship, you know.
And it's definitely, I mean, I think it's powerful because dcTalk in the past, and I'm not saying that we've forfeited all of this, but dcTalk in the past has been a group known for putting on a spectacular production oriented show. You know, we've always wanted to give the people that come out to the show their money's worth. You know, we've always wanted to give them, you know, a first-class show, and for us, it's been such a drive that we've almost rebelled against it a little bit. I know I have. I've wanted to always just, you know, be able to just get raw and, you know, just get some band guys behind us and unplug everything. And this is all of us finally saying, okay, let's get away from the lights for a little bit. And I think in some ways God has blessed that because He knows that we always want to experiment and we always want to we want to be the best we can be for the job ahead of us. So.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I think in the future you'll see, you know, us growing up still, us changing, maturing, and I mean, I think there'll be even more vocals on the next record. I think there'll be the element of hip-hop there, but I think we'll express through vocals the passion of the lyric, whether it's screaming them, singing them as a soloist, singing them as a group harmonies, occasional rapping them occasionally. But, I mean, you never know what's going to come out. Hopefully, exactly what I said, whichever vocal style best fits the passion of the lyric. We're looking forward to the next record. I think Free at Last was a landmark for us. Yeah. Because it feels like one piece of art. It doesn't feel disjointed. It doesn't feel like any one of us, but it feels like all three of us.
I was impressed at the chances you took. I mean, it would have been very easy for you to do a Heaven Bound 3, you know,
yeah.
And you didn't.
I think the '90s music scene, from what I could tell so far, is very much about.
Hi, Danny.
It's about new sound effects and being able to throw interesting sound effects in the music. Just that, experimenting. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that a group that I've always enjoyed with U2. I mean, they've changed so drastically over the years. You know, every year they come out with something that's so different, but you're still intrigued. You know, there's something there that you still go, oh wow, that's interesting how they've changed here, but it's still interesting. And I think that's where dcTalk, our hearts kind of lie in the fact that we don't want to lose all those people that like who we are, but we are all three of us, very passionate about music and very passionate about experimenting in music and wanting to change. I don't want to necessarily go out as one type of singer. Mike doesn't want to. Toby doesn't want to. We all want to be able to stretch who we are and you know, not to confuse people, but to just let them know that we're just not this one pigeonholed thing.
I kind of want to confuse. I want to throw them a curveball.
You know what's odd?
Sing a big band song.
Kevin made a good point. We did want to go out there and do this kind of acoustic thing, but you know what's really weird? I think the same thing as Kevin. I think, yeah, we've always been this band that's been considered big lights, big sound, big production, big show. But we've been an opening act for 4 years.
4 years, exactly.
We've never had big lights until this tour.
That's true.
But you're right. I consider
that's
the same.
what all our peers think of it. You know, I mean, let's just break it down. I mean, I know everybody that talks to me. You know, even my peers within the music. I was talking to somebody. I can't even remember the group. I think it was Scott Dente at a festival. He was playing with Charlie Peacock, and I said, well, what do you think of when you think of dcTalk, man? He goes, lights, camera, action. And I said, you know, it's funny because, you know, that's cool and everything, but I want them to know that there's something here besides
lights
that.
And the camera and action, some talent or something.
Yeah. But it's weird because that's blowing my mind right now. You just made me think, because I think the same thing as Dente, but we've only had like 8 lights per tour. That's all they give the opening act. I guess it's because we've learned to work without all the extra production things. We've learned to try to put on a big show without having the big show assets.
We don't want to be a carnival, you know. We don't want to be a circus, you know.
Speaking of circus, I want to talk about your acting career with DeGarmo and Keith.
Lights, camera, action.
We all have things we would like to sweep under the
sweep under the.
Not as recent as Kevin.
I'm kidding. You know, Eddie would laugh. I don't know about Dana, but Eddie would laugh to hear me say that because we've talked about it many times. Eddie came to me at Toby's wedding in Jamaica, and I had just got my hair cut. I had hair down to my shoulders, and I just got it cut for Toby's wedding because Toby's dad said, you know, if you cut your hair, I'll pay you $150. So I said, all right, I'll cut my hair.
Did he pay?
He paid me on the spot, right there on the beach, you know.
He's paying me for currently not wearing a hat, so.
Maybe I can work a deal without him.
Yeah, your hair's too long.
Eddie asked me. He asked me if I'd play like a James Dean like character, and he got me. You know, I mean, he basically appealed to my you know, wannabe sense. You know, I like James Dean. I have since I was a kid, but I don't think of him as a role model or anything. But he kind of got me trapped, and I said, yeah, I'll do it, and it was fun. I mean, let's put it all joking aside.
I have yet to see this
Mike
video.
and I haven't seen it yet.
We
think Kevin has burned all the copies.
I'd play it.
But when I see it, I'm going to ride him like a horse.
The best scene is the funnest scene in the whole video to me was us driving that Bel Air convertible.
Yeah.
And
you know, you raised that one guy on one part of it. Oh,
the devil.
It was a dead end too.
It's the first car crash in Christian video.
Really?
Yeah, the first car chase.
I
Crash.
thought they achieved that on 666. I didn't.
Did they do? I don't remember them doing it.
No, I remember something was burning.
Yeah,
I know that.
right,
something with a person.
Yes.
Oh,
a body.
Yes. They've been known over the years as the most violent group in Christian music. Yes.
It's awesome. I think they should start beating each other up on stage.
So do you think you're going to act again? I guess is my question.
I think we all would like to. I think,
really?
Well, in certain degrees. I mean, I don't think I'd do something like that. Preferably the second time around, I'd like to do something more Twin Peak-ish, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But I think all of us, you know, we aspire to do different things like that. I mean, I think we all enjoy the camera to some extent, but it's not like...
It's not a driving force. We're like,
yeah,
jobs right now, acting.
At one point, I mean, I really wanted to be an actor in college. I really wanted to do that. That was my focus. But I think God has called us all into music and put us in...
I did get that one audition, though, but I never made it.
Mike got an audition for a film.
Yeah.
Michael J. What's his name?
Love of Money?
No,
Money.
Concierge.
No,
they changed the name.
Changed to the Money.
The Concierge.
It's a current
movie.
Michael J. Fox film.
And you got an audition for it.
Yeah, but I didn't get the part.
We're glad he didn't.
For Love of Money.
We're glad he didn't.
Mike
get
did a
it
reading
because
for
that
it.
movie is horrible, well, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. It hasn't been playing. It played for a week and dropped off. So.
I did a reading and they didn't give me the part. I don't know why. I just didn't make it.
That's one of the problems with acting is that you're really under somebody else's control.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad movie, you're in a
You read for the Bellman, though. I don't. Your hair's not cutting the Bellman style.
Well, now it is.
That would be a problem. That's true.
Yeah. You know, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is you're one of the few groups I know that has been very strong in your statements about crossing over. Has that that you're not going to change your material, you're not going to make really any concessions whatsoever. Has that changed at all, or is that modified, matured? Is that the same? Talk about that.
I mean, it hasn't changed at all. It's kind of weird because you can't put any set rules on it. You know what I mean? I mean, because there are songs right now. I mean, you look back at dcTalk history, there are songs where we don't say the name Jesus Christ. Socially acceptable, I don't think. I don't know. I haven't counted. I don't count. There are no rules, but I know one thing. You know, we, as dcTalk, we consider our job essentially to pursue God and love people along the way and point people to Him through our music. That's what we're going to do. We're going to point people to God through our music. Now, if that takes tackling social decadence, if that takes tackling abortion, if that takes tackling materialism, racism, we'll do those things. But ultimately, we're going to point people to God. That's what we consider dcTalk.
Yeah. I'm thinking about your song, I Don't Want Your Sex for Now. It amazes me that you're one of the few groups that's ever said that publicly, that everybody's sort of afraid to say that except you guys. You taking any heat from that?
It was cool. Well, I told Toby and Kevin this when they wrote that song together. I told them, I said, I really couldn't see Carmen doing it. Not saying he can't, or, you know, Sandy Patty, not saying that she couldn't. But it just seems like, you know, we're the kind of group that could do that, not because we're superheroes, but it's just that I think that God has given us a platform, especially in the minds and in the hearts of a lot of the younger generation. We have a passion for those people, for these kind of people. People are near our age. And we can sing about stuff like that. And like you said, somebody's got to sing about it. I mean, let's face it, man. The sex word is not mentioned enough in the positive way. I mean, it's one of the best things in life. I can't wait to have sex inside of marriage.
That song was birthed out of being in a time period where everything's blatant. I mean, we're talking about, you know, we wanted to fight a blatant cause, so you fight fire with fire. You don't fight fire with a sponge, you know. And we felt like, hey, it's really when I saw a thing. What was it? It was like what was that? Focus on the Family thing or something.
Oh, that's right, with that kid.
We saw a kid, a 9-year-old kid, talking about, you know, hey, if my little girlfriend let me do it, I'd do it with a 9-year-old kid. And you're going, you know, what? So he's educated, so he's informed, so he knows he should take a rubber with him, you know. You know, that stuff is just disgusting, you know, and that doesn't eliminate the problem. And every night when we do this song, I mean, sometimes we'll shout something like, you know, safe sex is a joke, and we really believe that because it's not safe, and it can never be safe, even from an emotional angle. You know, let's say you don't get the person pregnant or you don't contract a disease, there's still emotional responses, consequences, social consequences, spiritual consequences, the most important one.
Do you take heat for that song? Had trouble saying it. Do you take heat for that song? No.
No,
We
get
haven't-
one
we haven't-
parent, like some parents say
some
their
say
2-year-olds or something.
They have to like block it out of their CD, so the really young kids. But I mean, that's not. And you know what? They're seeing it anyway. You know, when they watch MTV, when they watch whatever, they're hearing the word.
It forces parents to talk
radio.
about the sex issue before the kids are 4.
Somebody's speaker was messed up, and it was somebody's speaker was messed up. So it was only playing the right side, so their tape is going. I want it.
I want.
You know, it was I don't want it. It's in stereo. It was going I want it. So
Great.
That was crazy. I want it.
That's great.
you know what? It just hit me. Our songs will always. You're talking about crossover. Then you talked about this whole sex issue. Our songs will always, I believe, appeal to the world also. And the reason I say that is because the whole world deals with these issues. The whole world deals with what do we do about sexually transmitted disease? What do we do about pregnancies outside of marriage, overpopulation? What do we do about racism? What do we, all these things. These are issues that everyone has to struggle with, not just believers, the whole world. The difference is we go to a more foundational base for our lyrical content. We go to God's Word. What does God say about these things? And point people there through a song. We don't go to our own knowledge. It's the knowledge that God's given us is to take that and create a song, a hook that people will enjoy. But the words come from Him.
Well, I appreciate you guys very much. I've always thought you're one
Thomas
of my favorite
feels
people.
the same about you. You're always so easy to talk to.
This was a great interview, too. It's probably one of the better
This
ones
was.
we've had in a long time.
Is it Thomas Green?
Tom. Tom.
But your name was Thomas, though, right? Don't be ashamed of it. Come on.
Carl Green.
Thomas Green, a very introspective, interesting man. If anybody would ever want to take the time to talk to him, I'm sure you'd be very well pleased.
Thomas Green provided for my first video.
He probably was the first one to air Heaven Bound.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I thought you guys are great, and I still do.
You're a good man.
Still one of my favorite people. 3 of my favorite people.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, Jack and Bob.
We did Time to Jam it.
That's what I'm saying.
I know, yeah. With little Nate. Nate was like,
I know, he's just sitting up on the little floor.
I was doing a beatbox.
that's right. You were talking about lights and sound.
our bus
I got you
driver,
on tape doing.
Greg
That's
Jackson, our
right.
first bus driver was there.
Did you know I got?
Wasn't that nice and humble of Kevin? Such a great singer, and he did a beatbox for
That
just for
is-
that song.
And Mike didn't do anything.
I was the actor. I acted it. That was my first act. I said,
Holmes, give me a couple.
I got a letter on that from somebody saying that they objected to the use of the word Holmes because it was out of some other something. I don't know. I didn't understand the letter.
Didn't like the boxer?
Something. I don't know.
It's probably about
I don't know.
there's a famous pornography man named Holmes or something like that.
What it was.
Some weird
Funny though.
Well, okay, we're done anyway.
Yeah, we're getting out of here.
Okay, you got to go. We can stop tape.
All right. Oh.
Jesus, He loves me. This I know, and it's for the Bible. Well, it tells me so, and all of us. To Him we belong. Now we are so weak, yeah, but my God, He is strong.
my Jesus, He loves you. Oh, yes, my Jesus, He loves me. For the Bible tells me so. Everybody sing along with me now.